On the other side, I was also telling you how intermittent firing has been going on along the line of control. So the bad news from there is that one assistant district divisional commissioner level officer, Mr. Thapa, is now deceased. He's no more. A shell landed at his residence. So Pakistan is continuing to target civilian areas in Rajouri, Poonch, Jammu. A temple was targeted. A temple's wall was damaged. There were some houses near that temple that was damaged as well. So for now, it's all clear. It's a bright sunny day right now, and the input that we're getting is that things have calmed down, but the ramifications, what has happened overnight is still on, and we're expecting that briefing also in a short while from now, where India will officially confirm what has happened last night.
All right, so we have pictures from Lahore, pictures from Jammu. These are all images that we are broadcasting here on CNN News 18. So just to bring you up to speed, there has been an escalation in the drone and missile strikes from Pakistan's side overnight over the last 6 hours, specifically after the IMF announcement happened. And then India, in retaliation, has targeted at least 3 major air bases, including the Noor Khan air base, the old Chakwal air base of Pakistan. That you can see the smoke and fire going up there. This is in Lahore, likely again a missile, Indian missile that landed up there. You can see the fields up in flames, and then of course the interception of the Pakistani drone launch pad somewhere on the other side of the Jammu region. You can see the intercept happening mid-air, and then that's the Noor Khan air base, one of the biggest, the Chakwal air base. It's bang in the middle of the military complex in Rawalpindi. The general headquarters is not too far away from there. It has a Pakistan military training college as well, and then in Rawalpindi, in the heart of the city itself. So Anand is also joining us here in our studio. So Anand, it's been a very hot night between India and Pakistan.
Hope the international community is watching. There's a reason why Bharat was very clearly, vociferously against the IMF bailout. Soon after the bailout happens, look at this. Let's look at these visuals. This is where the tube drones were being fired. This was the tube from where drones were being fired across towards India. And that's what it's now been demolished altogether. So you have the flares and thereafter, then you see the flames. This is where this has been destroyed. This is where those Turkish drones and a lot of the Chinese drones were being pushed into India. The more important part is that these drones were actually probing. They were coming there to try to see where the air defense systems are placed, and thereafter the Pakistan was trying to send across ballistic missiles. Fatah ballistic missiles have been fired towards Bharat. That's the level of escalation that has happened soon after midnight at about 12:05 a.m. That's when the first news came in that there were ballistic missiles that were fired in the direction of Bharat, and that have been intercepted over Sirsa. So that's the level of escalation that the Pakistanis have now resorted to. General Asim Munir will now have to account for this because Bharat is going to respond in very, very strong measures. So let's try and see those pictures. These are visuals of the entire drone tube that's now been demolished. So one important aspect. Let's try and look at some of the other pictures that are coming through. So this is the dump. And let's move to the next set of pictures. Now, these are pictures which are coming in where there has been damage. This is over in Pakistan, and there is extensive amount of damage that is visible. Yeah. And clearly there are ammunition, missiles, loitering munitions that have landed in this city. No, these are Jammu. These are pictures of Jammu. I was just looking at the card numbers, the registration numbers. So this is what Pakistan's done. It's targeting Jammu city. There are military installations, but some of these have also landed near temples. They have also landed near some of the temples, very famous temples in Jammu, where some of the munitions, some of the missiles, projectiles that have been fired by Pakistan have landed. There is damage in civilian areas. These are the 2 jets. There is a serious dogfight that's been registered. There are dogfights that have been registered, and Asim Munir is actually called Chachu Whiskey there in Pakistan. So his team has suffered losses. 2 of his jets are down. What is the make of these jets? We don't know. But 2 of the jets are down in a dogfight. Indian Air Force has really knocked down 2 jets. It's a big setback and big embarrassment. Further embarrassment heaped on Asim Munir and the Pak military. These are the remnants. They have landed very close to Srinagar city. And that's why there is a possibility that the 2 pilots have ejected and they have landed on Indian soil. Now, it's a matter of time that they are apprehended, and we'll get you more. Now, this is more of the drones. These are parts of drone, remnants of the drone in Amritsar. Clearly, the make of the drones this time, and this entire wreckage that we are seeing in Amritsar, this time around the drones are bigger. They seem to have been equipped with explosives and munition and with the attempt to target positions in Amritsar. Now, one of the treacherous things that Pakistan was trying to do was to try and attack the Golden Temple in Amritsar and blame it on India, and activating their entire Khalistani cronies to try and push this whole thing on social media, but it's been called out by India. And look at this. This is in Amritsar. These are Pak drones, Pak-sent drones. So clearly, huge amount of escalation. But Bharat is also responding, and the response is in far greater measure. There have been severe reversals for the Pakistanis. Critical air bases have been hit, and this is in Lahore. The Lahore people are now seeing parts of the Indian Jawabi Karwai, if I may say, and this is the damage. Now, it looks like a field, but it's clearly that it's just one of the projectiles that's landed there. But in Lahore, along with the ADS system near the Walton Airport, there are some critical facilities that have now been impacted because of Indian Air Force or the Indian Forces response. Let's look at Rawalpindi. The Rawalpindi Air Base, again, this is confirmation that 3 of the Pak air bases were not able to operate their machines from these air bases after the response. This is post-midnight. Once Pakistan went up a ladder on the escalation, this is the response that India has given, and saying, you try to target our bases, you try to target our capital, or you try to target our cities, we will hit you so hard that you will not be able to fly your machines. So these air bases have actually been rendered ineffective overnight. Rawalpindi is one. There is also the Noor Khan Air Base, where there is a huge amount of damage. Now look at the damage that is seen at the Noor Khan Air Base, and there is this proof. And the fact is that there is evidence we are given to understand with our armed forces and with our intelligence that these air bases were rendered ineffective all night. They could not operate their machines from these air bases. So Rawalpindi, the Noor Khan Air Base, and of course, this is the old Narowal Air Base. So Narowal Air Base also rendered ineffective because they were not able to operate their machines. And these are confirmed hits at 3 big air bases of Pakistan. So if Pakistan goes up the escalation ladder, if Chachu Whiskey decides to go up the escalation ladder, Bharat was ready. And the important part, Zaka, as I hand it back to you, is that Bharat was expecting this. Late last evening, we put it out that we know that these were probing. The drones that were sent, largely ineffective, without any ammunition on them, were probes because they wanted to see how effective our air defense systems are and where our air defense mechanisms have been placed. And soon after the IMF bailout gets a thumbs up, look what Pakistan has done. The world should watch and see that Bharat said we don't want, and we actually offered them 1, 2, 3 off-ramps. But Asim Munir has said no, and the Pak military has said no, we come to, and they've called it Bunyan Masoos, and then launching ballistic missiles towards, and one of them intended reportedly towards the national capital, Zaga. This is serious escalation, and perhaps now India was expecting it. They were prepared to see to what level Pakistan takes it. Clearly, they don't want an off-ramp, and they don't want to get an escalating ladder because they seem to be desperate to get some win or the other, and that's not happening. That's being denied.
So what we are seeing, in case you're joining us a little past 7:30 in the morning, in case you're joining us this Saturday morning, it's been a night full of action. It's been, as they say, a hot night between India and Pakistan. Pakistan has decided to climb the escalation ladder. The drone swarms that we saw over the last couple of nights, that's now been notched up a rung in the escalation ladder, and that is now they are hitting India or trying to hit India through missiles, short-range missiles, both air-to-surface and surface-to-surface missiles, one of which was a ballistic missile, a Fatah-II series, a 400-kilometer range missile that they tried to launch towards the direction of the national capital. It got intercepted in the skies over Haryana. We're not giving specific locations because we don't want to spread panic, but in the general airspace above Haryana, that was intercepted. India has responded. It has taken out at least 3 major forward air bases of Pakistan. The Noor Khan Air Base, which is the biggest in the country, the Chakwal Air Base, the Murid Air Base as it's known. Both of these air bases have both fighter jet squadrons as well as transport aircraft. So transport aircraft are also important in terms of being able to move logistics. Also the Rafiki Air Base, which is further south in southern Punjab, and there's a civil plus technical airport in a place called Sukur in Sindh. So that is India's response to what Pakistan tried to do. Separately, we're also getting information about massive ceasefire violations both along the line of control and the international border. There has been some damage to civilian installations as well. Pakistan tried to attack some of India's forward air bases. Pathankot certainly saw a bunch of attacks last night, but there has been very minimal to zero damage there. The Jammu Air Force Station they tried to attack yesterday, again zero damage there. Both the technical and the civil airports are fine, are safe. Also in Udhampur, which is the headquarters of the Northern Command of the Indian Army, there too there is, I can report to you, minimal damage. So we're being very, very responsible, very, very measured in our reporting. So the big picture being that it's been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Certainly, both sides now climbing up a rung in the escalation ladder. Arunima is there with us. Siddhant is there with us. We'll try and go across to Akash as well, who's joining us from Jammu. Ishan in Srinagar, where I believe a dogfight has happened and 2 Pakistan Air Force jets have been brought down. Let me go across to Arunima. Arunima, big picture, what are you hearing? You're outside South Block for us. Any defense sources, government sources saying what the situation is, what the assessment is as they see it?
See, the situation right now, we are told at about 7:30 hours this morning on Saturday, is under control. Whatever misadventure Pakistan indulged in last night, post midnight, it has been met. And they have lost more than they attempted to harm India with. So what we are told is that there are at least 2 Pakistani fighter jets which have been down. Officially, they're not saying whether they know exactly where the debris are, but they are confirming that they feel that at least 2 Pakistani fighter jets are down, and an intense search operation is currently on around Srinagar to look for the Pakistani Air Force pilots who likely ejected. So that's one. Second, we do know that their ceasefire violation along the line of control in Rajouri, Poonch, all of that has resulted in deaths. They were targeting civilians. One district level official has also lost his life because his house was shelled. Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has also tweeted his condolence. But for now, the firing that was on at Rajouri Poonch sector over the last 1 hour or so, even that has gone down. Jammu also was targeted. Attempts were made at the Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur air base. And even though Pakistan's propaganda machinery through their own local media channels were trying to say that the Udhampur air base has been damaged, our sources in the defense establishment have confirmed that there's no damage to any air asset or to the premises or any personnel in any of these air bases. Pathankot, Jammu, Udhampur, it's all clear there. And right now the focus, like I said, A is to look for the Pakistani Air Force pilots. B is to assess the kind of damage that has been inflicted on Pakistan. Once this assessment has been done, we're expecting a formal press conference led by the Foreign Secretary.
All right. I also want to go across to Ishan, but what we're seeing in the middle part of your screen is wreckage believed to be from 2 Pakistan Air Force jets that have been downed. It's landed in a place called Lasjan, which I believe is in the outskirts of Srinagar. Ishan is on his way to Lasjan. What more do we know about these parts, this wreckage? Where was it found? The individual who has shot this? What more can you tell us?
The assessment is being done. What we know is that the team has arrived there. They have taken the wreckage and these parts with them. Initially, what the sources in the Air Force and the defense told us that they were able to shoot down at least 2 aircrafts of Pakistan in and around Kashmir, and particularly one in Srinagar. But the assessment is being done what it really was, whether it was a missile, whether it was a drone, or whether it was a jet that has been basically shot at by the Indian Air Defense. But right now, what we have been given to understand is that the Indian defense is running on maximum in Kashmir to ensure the safety. They have shot down, things. What we don't have a clarity yet on that what kind of projectile it is, what it was, and where actually it other places where it has landed. But what we know is that there is a high level of operational preparedness. The forces are checking everything that that is coming in their radar to ensure that they are brought down immediately. There is an attempt to actually inflict damage at two important locations. One is the Avantipura air station, and one is Avantipura air base, and one is the Srinagar air station. Both of the targets are being done by the Pakistan drones, and Pakistani aircrafts and rockets are being shot at there. And also what we know is that this landed in a residential house of one person, but there is no damage, immediate damage that we know about that has been caused. Our sources have been telling us that people have been asked to stay a little vigilant, but not panic at all. There's no need to panic, as air defense of India is running high in Kashmir at the moment, and the line of control is also hot. Remember, the LOC areas are also right now hot. What we have been given to understand is that the firing is still going on the line of control. There is a possibility, if it is a pilot-based aircraft that was hovering around Srinagar, that the pilots can also be possibly anywhere. But yes, one has to wait for the IAF team to actually give us a confirmation to really what it was and what it really is. But they believed initially that they have brought down a fighter jet around Srinagar and in the Lasjan area.
All right, Anand is also there with us. We don't know the wreckage. This is from the Lasjan area in Srinagar. It's likely from a Pakistani Air Force jet that's been brought down, but we'll wait for that confirmation. These are images of the tube drones that were being launched from the other side of the border in Pakistan. That has now been brought down by the intercepts of the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force. Anand, walk us through those pictures, please.
Well, let's have a look at this. This is a Pak military post where there is, if you see, they were launching the tube drones, and that they had the drone tubes, and this was a Pak post, and that's where this is that we are seeing on the picture. This is right across the Jammu region, across the international border. That's where they had these this post from where drones were being launched. That's been totally decimated. So this is a big uptick, because every time Pakistan, what they were trying to resort to do was sending these drones, and these drones were nothing but cannon fodder. They wanted to do that because they wanted to see how much of a backup. Now these are pictures. These are pictures. These are the latest. These are the latest objects that have been found in Jaisalmer. This is a huge projectile. Now, have a look at this. This is nothing short of a ballistic missile, but it's a huge projectile if you look at it, and it's mangled. We don't know if there is live ammunition in it, but this has been brought down. It's landed in a residential area in Jaisalmer, and quite a long one, at about 10 to 15 feet in length at least, this projectile, if not more. And it seems that the head has come off and it's just landed. This seems to be the head of the projectile, and quite a big one. It's landed there. Whether it has live ammunition or not, we do not know. There have been some sounds of explosions in some other places, but this one has landed here, and you can see the way it's landed. There are a few craters just around the fact. It seems to have landed with a thud and then rolled over across to this bush, if you see these pictures. So this is in Jaisalmer. The cops, the local police have been alerted, and they've asked the local residents there to not go close or to touch this, but to leave it as it is. But we can see the villagers and all of them who have seen this. They've taken the images, and clearly the local authorities have been alerted with this. So this is the latest. So clearly a lot of efforts that have been made by the Pakistanis to ratchet up and to try and damage certain installations across the entire western border has come a begging for them. It's not yielded results. Have we lost people? Yes, we have. There's report of a civilian death, 2 civilian deaths that have happened in Jammu Kashmir region. These are latest pictures. These are also latest pictures from Jaisalmer. This is also another spot that's come in. Is this live ammunition? This is also looks like part of a projectile. This also looks like part of a missile. Now this somewhere confirms the fact that the reports that we had, that Pakistan has actually launched ballistic missiles soon after the IMF thumbs up for the $1.3 billion bailout that's come for them. But look at this, and that's why Jammu Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah is asking the international community. He's just taken to X for that. But look at this. Ballistic missiles have been launched, so this is clear escalation. Yes, Zaka.
All right. Ishan is joining us live from Lasjan, where we believe wreckage of two Pakistani Air Force aircraft have gone down. Ishan, show us where you are and what you're seeing around you.
Well, this is the residential area. This is the impact spot. You will see that one of that whatever projectile it was landed here. Look at the impact spot. This is possibly a part of it, which is in my hand right now, and that has been taken away by the police as soon as before we reached here. This is the impact spot where it landed. You'll see around here the sort of the sort of scene that is this here. This is where it had landed, and this is it has uprooted the entire thing here. And you will also notice here that one more projectile actually fell at this place, and then it was taken away by the police. And what we've been told is that there's an active investigation going on, what it really was, what it really is. Now the Indian Air Force will ascertain that what really it was brought down here. But initial information with the Air Force was that they have been able to bring down at least one jet around Srinagar and then on the outskirts as well.
What is
but
this
look at
place?
the spot where the impact spot is.
Is
This is
it
where
the backyard of a house? What is this place?
Well, this is the backyard of a house. I'll give you an idea how close-knitted this locality is. You will see there are houses all around this place, everywhere. And luckily that it did not fall any of these houses. It fell in their back garden where nobody was present at that time. And you will see that there's a very less space present between these houses. And if it all had fallen on any of these houses, it would have created a lot of damage to them. But this is the impact spot. You will exactly see the sort of locality that exists, that there's nobody present at that time here. We've spoken to the residents here. They said that there was a loud sound that they heard. And after that, they came out and seeing that there was some projectile, two of them present here, and then it was whisked away by the police. But the impact has been like a good big impact around this place. And lucky enough for these people that it did not fall in any of these houses, any of these residential houses which are closely knitted and closely located with each other. But we have given to understand is that now the Air Force and and the teams of Indian Army will look at this particular object and see what it really was and the sort of damage it could have inflicted on the residential area. But definitely we had seen that there was a high air activity. We've been given to understand that there was a possibly a dogfight that took place in the skies of Srinagar. But right now it's difficult to tell what really fell here because it's part of the investigation by the agencies.
All right. Anand, I believe you have pictures of what has gone down in Jaisalmer.
Yes.
It looks like parts of a missile. Just take us through what you
now,
see.
this is close to the Pokhran region, we are given to understand, and the locals are saying when this landed there, they heard a loud explosion. So they're not sure whether this is a bomb, but the shape of it and the way it is, it looks like a missile. Now, whether is it what make it is, what type it is, whether it is a portion of a ballistic missile, we have to wait and watch. But clearly, this is a far bigger projectile than what we saw landing in Jaisalmer yesterday and day before. So that were about 5-6 feet. Those were the kind of projectiles that we had seen. This is more than 10 to 12 feet long. And if you see the whole length and breadth of this and this entire image, it very clearly shows. Look at the locals and you can compare and contrast the size of this projectile based on the locals who are standing there. And that itself gives you that this is at least 10 to 12 feet long, if not more. And this is not even the whole projectile. This is not even the whole missile. And this is another portion that's found. Now, this could be a live mortar shell or munition. So the locals have been advised that you take pictures and you stay away. Don't touch it. Keep minimum distance. Some of this may be live. Some of this may be diffused. We do not know. But these have landed. So clearly, the escalation ladder, Pakistan has really gone up the escalation ladder. With what intent? Can they sustain it? Is it desperation? But what also stands out is our air defense systems. Yes, there will be some reversals, there will be some aspects, but a 10% hit or a 5% blow on the chin or somewhere is nothing compared to the 100% might that was pushed by the Pakistanis. So largely, if you were to say 98% of the efforts pushed by the Pakistani military has been neutralized or has been diffused. But it is also sad that we have lost at least 2 civilians in Jammu Kashmir, leader, one lady, and also one person who was part of the administrative services in Jammu and Kashmir, in Srinagar, who's also sadly lost his life. But the other part, Zaka, as I hand it back to you, is that Pakistanis have not just targeted military installations, they seem to be targeting certain religious installations also, because one of the missiles sent by the Pakistanis, or projectiles, has landed near a temple in Jammu. The other thing is they were flying around over Amritsar. With what intent? We have to see. Thankfully, Majority of these have been neutralized. We are also awaiting details, and I'm very curious to see if there are locals who have cited someone trying to come down on a parachute. Because if there is a dogfight and 2 Pakistani jets have been downed, there is a high possibility that there could be 2 Pakistani pilots or enemy pilots on Indian soil. Now, whether they are apprehended, whether they've been cited, we're waiting for those confirmations. But there is a confirmed report that there was a dogfight over the Srinagar skies this morning.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for that, Anand. As we go across to Tejinder in Jammu, but those images from Jaisalmer, that looks like a significant piece of military hardware. That looks like a missile, possibly a short range or a medium range missile, the remnants of which landed up in Jaisalmer. We'll try and find out from our reporter there. We've got Anvit, I think, there in Jaisalmer. This is what the locals have spotted, and they have filmed it and they've sent it across. There's been some civilian casualties as well in Jammu, in Rajouri, Poonch. Tejinder has more on this. Tejinder, I believe a DC level officer has also lost his life. I think his house was attacked yesterday. There's been 3 civilian casualties in Jammu is what we are told. Just tell us what else are you hearing and seeing this morning in Jammu?
Zaka, unfortunately, there has been 5 civilian casualties across Jammu since the Pakistani army launched this ceasefire violation targeting the civilian population. 3 people, including an additional DC Rajkumar Thapa, have been killed in Rajouri. There has been a fatality. A woman has been killed in Mender area of Poonch, and another civilian has been killed in the Araspura area of Jammu, as Pakistan army continues to target the civilian population. As Anand was rightly pointing out, that a missile launched from the Pakistan side exploded outside one of the famous temples in Jammu called the Aab Shambhu temple, but luckily there was no casualty in that blast. Another 2 missiles that were fired from the Pakistan side, one landed at a residential house in Janipur and the other one in Rihadi. So clearly now the Jammu city, which never came under attack after the 1971 war, has been targeted by the Pakistan side. They are using drones, they are using missiles, heavy artillery guns to target the civilian population. And Zaka, as we speak, the line of control in Jammu as well as in Kashmir is really hot. Pakistan army is once again targeting the civilian population living along the line of control in Uri, in Tangdhar, Keran, Machil sector in Kashmir, and in Jammu region, Poonch, Rajouri, Kathua. These are the areas which are being targeted by the Pakistan side. But yes, the Indian army is giving a befitting response to Pakistan. We are told that several positions of the Pakistan army, from where they are launching their tube projectiles, from where they are targeting the civilian population, have been completely decimated by the targeted fire of the Indian armed forces.
So the 3 sets of images that you're seeing, one from Amritsar in the fields there, that's the wreckage of a drone clearly. Remember yesterday India called out Turkey and said there were Turkish-made drones that were being sent from Pakistan to India. The middle part of your screen is debris from a Pakistan Air Force jet. We don't know the make. Could be an F-16, but we don't know the make. It's in a place called Lasjan. You heard from Ishan a moment ago. He's landed in that residential colony in Lasjan. Thankfully, it fell on the backyard of an individual. And then on the right side of your screen, it seems like a massive projectile of some sort. This is from Jaisalmer. We'll try and get to Anvit as well to try and get a sense of what this is and how the villagers managed to find this. Arunima is joining us. So the big picture at 8 o'clock this morning, this Saturday morning, it's been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Multiple drone and missile strikes both ways. Pakistan upping the ante, escalating going up the escalation ladder after the IMF bailout announcement, trying to attack India's forward air bases and military stations from Jammu to Udhampur to Pathankot to Sirsa, Adhampur were all under target, but all of those attempts have been thwarted. India in response taking out some of the forward air bases of Pakistan, the Noor Khan base being the topmost one. It's one of the biggest air bases, one of the oldest air bases of Pakistan. It used to be called the Chakwal Air Base, right in the heart of Rawalpindi. There's one in Chakwal, the Murid Air Base, a smaller one which has transport aircraft, and then one further south in Shorokot, the Rafiki Air Base. Arunima, from South Block, what is the big picture that you're hearing from top government and defense officials?
So while assessment is currently going on, the current action that we are seeing is that assessment of what really has, what is the kind of damage that has been extended to Pakistan. We've all been reporting that it is suspected that 2 Pakistani Air Force pilots have ejected near Srinagar. So there is an intense search operation that has been launched to locate them. Now we're just looking at the Pakistani media. They're reporting that Shahbaz Sharif has called for a meeting of the National Command Authority. So all of the developments that are happening in Pakistan also is being closely monitored. Our own Foreign Secretary is expected to brief with details about what really has happened overnight. The only official word we had last night, the statement from the Indian Army, was that at 26 locations drone attacks were carried out, and after the statement came out, there were surface to surface missiles also, and also Pakistani aircrafts which were launched. We have been reporting how they've got a bloody nose. They tried to cause damage at Pathankot, Jammu, Udhampur, and their media is continuing to maintain that there was some damage done to the Udhampur airbase, but something which has been rejected by defense officials. There was a briefing that was supposed to happen this morning, but it was put on hold because there was live air operation happening, and soon after that we heard that Pakistani jets have been downed near Srinagar. So currently the big picture is that Pakistan is trying to once again get the international community involved, trying to raise the bogey of nuclear weapon once again. India, however, maintains that we are only retaliating. Provocation is coming in from Pakistan and we are only retaliating, and that press conference by the Foreign Secretary is expected to toe the same line.
All right, Anand's also there here in the studios with me. So some of these pictures that we're getting, Anand, these are parts allegedly of a downed Pakistan Air Force jet that's been found in Lasjan. We saw that massive projectile from Jaisalmer as well, and then of course the intercepts, the CCTV footage of the intercepts of a Pakistani post where they were using to launch drones. What are you hearing and seeing?
Well, there are multiple reports coming through. There is confirmation that there are 2 jets that have been downed. There are also pieces that have landed at different portions across the western border. So be it Jammu and Kashmir, be it in Haryana, be it in Punjab. Now these are pictures in Gurdaspur. So again, there is a huge collection of people who have come there, and there is something that's landed in the fields. Now it could be live ammunition. Viewers who are watching this, if you see something that has landed somewhere close to your vicinity, or if you know people who are telling you that they are seeing something, they should maintain a fair distance. But what's also evident is that the impact here has made a bit of a crater or a hole on the other side. Now these are farmers who are tilling their lands, and this is an open field in Gurdaspur. Look at the crater there. That's the ditch. Now something's landed big here. For the impact for it to be on a field, and it's landed huge here. So something's landed here and they're trying to show what it is. It looks like portions of a projectile that has landed here, and it's quite a big crater. Now you look at this. This is quite a big crater, and there are a lot of people around. It looks like these pictures are coming at a time when local authorities have already arrived there, because this is a huge collection of people. But look at the size of the crater. This is a huge crater that's landed here. So something big has landed here in Gurdaspur with a huge amount of impact. So clearly, with each passing night, from small drones which had nothing, small projectiles which were not very potent, the size of the projectiles, the missiles, has gone very big. Anshul joins us with more details. Anshul, Gurdaspur, there's a huge collection of people. What seems to have landed there? Is it portions of a big missile? Does this further confirm the theory that Pakistan has actually launched ballistic missiles towards India?
Well, definitely, this seems like a big missile, something that has not been that has not been regularly seen over the last 3 days regarding the kind of projectiles that have been launched from the side of Pakistan. At this point in time, the locals have collected over there. The officials and the members of the army, official members of the army, are reaching on the spot. They will try to ascertain as to what kind of missile was actually used that has landed in Gurdaspur at this point. However, at the initial information that we are picking up, there has been no reports of any injuries that has been reported, but yes, there has been lost.
They seem to have landed in empty fields. You are in Pathankot at this point, Anshul. What's happening in Pathankot? Is it quiet? We spoke around the same time on Friday morning. This is now, we are into Saturday morning. What is happening in Pathankot at this point? Was it active? Did people cite explosions last night too? Have there been certain portions or debris of attempts by Pakistan that have been neutralized, that have also landed in Pathankot?
Well, yes, at least 25 to 30 explosions were heard by me, myself, and all these 30 explosions were actually of projectiles that were sent from the side of Pakistan, but all of them were actually neutralized by our air defense systems. Especially from 5 a.m. this morning, there were one after the other that were attacks that were launched from the side of Pakistan and that had landed over here. In fact, that were thwarted by our air defense system. Now, at the exact location at which I'm standing, this is the last village of international border over here in Pathankot. Right in front of you, what you are seeing is Pakistan. I'll try and see you a few posts of Pakistan Pakistan over here. This village is a very, very important village because the manner in which there has been amplification that has been done from the side of Pakistan. There are reports of certain firings that might have happened, but this is the international border. Over the last few hours, this has remained absolutely calm. But yes, a few locals actually claim that late last night they saw a few projectiles being launched from here. These projectiles were actually neutralized by our air defense systems. I'll just try and get in a word from a few people. भैया आप यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं, किस तरह का माहौल है यहाँ पर? बिल्कुल पाकिस्तान सामने है आपके और काफ़ी अभी टेंशन बढ़ी हुई है.
माहौल तो सर अभी ख़राब ही चल रहा है, आपको भी पता है माहौल तो ख़राब ही चल रहा है. माहौल ऐसे अभी रात को तो कोई रहता नहीं इधर, जो लेडीज़ है जेंट्स है सब चले जाते हैं.
कुछ लोग तो रहते हैं गाँव,
कोई 10-15 जी रहते हैं.
कितनी आबादी है इस गाँव की?
इधर 450
आबादी है.
हाँ जी.
तो कैसा है, कभी वहाँ से कोई अटैक होने का?
अभी तक तो कोई नहीं हुआ सर, अभी तक इधर तो नहीं हुआ, बाहर होगा लेकिन इधर नहीं, सिंबल गांव में नहीं हुआ. हाँ जी.
So, thank you for that. Let's also bring you up to speed a little past 8 o'clock in the morning. The big picture is that there has been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Pakistan clearly climbing up the escalation ladder. What you're seeing are visuals from different parts along the northern and western sectors. Jaisalmer, a massive projectile of some sorts. It looks like a missile of some form. And then in Lasjan in Srinagar, you're seeing visuals of what is likely remnants of a downed Pakistan jet, a Pakistan Air Force jet. So let's bring you up to speed with the headlines that we're seeing. First, in Lasjan in Srinagar, in the outskirts of the city, parts of a Pakistani jet have been found. The pictures of the wreckage have been accessed. You can see this was inside the residential compound of an individual. Headline number 2, India managing to intercept Pakistani drones. We can show that CCTV footage as well. This is on a Pakistani launch pad they were using on the other side of the international border in Jammu. Top defense sources saying that India has destroyed this Pakistani post that was trying to launch drones and, of course, the launch pads that have been used. The second image that you see is that of the destroyed drone. You can see the intercepts happening in the night sky, and then the second image, smoke and fire in the fields there. Headline number 3, part of a drone has been found in the fields of Amritsar. Amritsar, bang on the border, just 60 kilometers between Amritsar and Lahore. So parts of a drone have been found in the rural parts of Amritsar in agricultural fields. You can see that as well. Headline number 4, a projectile from Pakistan has been found in Lasjan. This is, like I said, believed to be parts of a fighter jet of the Pakistan Air Force that was brought down in a dogfight over the skies of Srinagar. A bomb-like object has been found in Jaisalmer. This is in a place called Jamla village close to Pokhran. The Indian Army has neutralized the Pakistani projectile. It seems like parts of a missile. There's also that image of a much larger, almost 10 feet large projectile that's been captured there in Jaisalmer as well. So these are the various images that we have. We have Arunima Siddhant joining us. Siddhant, what's the international community saying? Has there been any response, any form of, wanting to calm down tempers, de-escalate the situation? It seems like both India and Pakistan are now locked in this escalatory phase, climbing the escalation ladder. Someone's got to come in and try and mediate and try and get both parties to back off, or are they saying, as Vance and Trump seem to be suggesting, that look, it's their problem, let them figure it out?
Well, yes, that's right, Zaka. In fact, international community is urging both sides to de-escalate. In fact, we have a fresh statement from G7 foreign ministers. Perhaps, first they condemned Pahalgam terror attack, then they urged both sides to de-escalate for the sake of regional peace and stability. In fact, Saudi Arabia is one country which is giving efforts for de-escalation. In fact, this offer had come from various countries for mediation and for giving for offering their good office for the mediation purpose between the two between India and Pakistan. But at this point in time, Zaka, you need a country which has leverage with both India and Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia seems to be the one. So this is the reason that in fact the special envoy of Saudi Arabia was in the national capital day before yesterday. In fact, he met Foreign Minister Jai Shankar. He in fact met Prime Minister Modi, though there was no photographs released of him meeting Prime Minister Modi. Then yesterday he was in Islamabad, and in fact Islamabad released those photographs of him meeting Shehbaz Sharif and Asim Munir. Perhaps we really know very little about what was conversation all about. In fact, when he was here also in the national capital, there was nothing which we got in terms of information from Ministry of External Affairs or any other government wing regarding the conversation. Perhaps was he carrying somebody's message? What is the position of Saudi government? Whether that was conveyed to the Indian government, etc., etc. So we know very little. And today Saudi Arabia has come up with a statement, Zaka, confirming that this envoy was sent on a surprise visit to both India and Pakistan, perhaps to give efforts to de-escalate tension. But it doesn't look like
an
that.
unscheduled visit is the steer that we're getting. He's gone to both Islamabad as well as to New Delhi. First New Delhi and then Islamabad. Before I go to Anand, Aman is also joining us. Aman, what's the big picture? What are top government sources telling you? Because clearly things have escalated. This is the third night, the night between the 9th and 10th of May. It's the third night after Operation Sindoor. Clearly, we're now looking at an active conflict between India and Pakistan.
Well, absolutely, Zaka. As you correctly say, India, Pakistan both are on an escalatory ladder, and India is totally and squarely blaming Pakistan for what is happening. India is very clear, Zaka, that our attack, our retaliation was over with Operation Sindoor on May the 7th. It is since Pakistan, which is upping the escalation, first by sending drones across the border, attacking 36 targets from Leh to Sir Creek the previous night. And what has happened today early morning is a complete escalation, firing of ballistic missiles at India. This is something that India is saying will be responded in big measure. India has already responded today morning, and India is seeing a plot here, Zaka. India feels that Pakistan waited for the IMF bailout. Till then, the drones which came were all recce missions, intelligence gathering missions, trying to test our air defenses, maybe trying to exhaust our air defenses. But Pakistan has been caught by shock and surprise today morning when it launched its full attack soon after getting the IMF bailout. India also trying to now tell the world that, look, you have bailed out a country. IMF has given a bailout to a country which has launched ballistic missiles at India, which is exporting terror. So the world community also needs to, sit up and take note. What Pakistan has done today morning, soon after getting the IMF bailout, and this is what India told the IMF very, very strongly yesterday also by abstaining from the vote and lodging its strong protest, that a country which is fomenting terror against India, why is it being given bailout of one bailout after the other, nearly over 24 bailouts given to Pakistan over the last many years. India made that point on the world stage. India was not able to stop the bailout because of the way the IMF is structured. But today's strikes are completely escalating the matter. India is now saying the onus is on Pakistan to stop, to de-escalate. But if Pakistan does not stop, India is going to go to any lengths to protect its territory, to protect its military assets, to protect its civilian population. And that is why you've seen this morning, Zaka.
All right, thanks, Aman. Anand's here in our studios. That projectile that you showed from Jaisalmer, and I believe Anvit will also be joining us. We can go across to him. It's from a village part of the Pokhran, Jaisalmer, that belt. Can you show us that projectile, Anand? And there's a massive crater that's been left on the ground.
Well, these are updated images, Zaka. These are updated. Now, this is what, see, the serial numbers are also there. The UCP 213-15956 and the serial number is also put out. So, there are more images coming through of the projectiles that were launched. This is confirmed proof that it is Pakistan that has launched ballistic missiles and also sending huge projectiles. Look at the impact which is there on the field. It's landed on a field and people are now, we'll go across to that side, where the size of the projectile itself shows that this was a missile. This was not a smaller one, and it was not mounted on a drone or anything. This was a ballistic missile. This is the person who's walking us, and he's taking us to the place where the actual portion of it has landed. It has come through that area. That's what they are trying to show. See, there are other pieces also. There are more fractions and fragments that have fallen here. Look at this on the ground, and then He's pointing with now there are more. See, you see more smaller fragments that have gone in before we come and see the final big piece, that is that blue, dark blue, indigo blue kind of a missile. Now this is the actual color, or midnight blue or black. That's the color that that the missile actually has. Now he's showing the distance that this entire projectile, once it's crashed, it's gone and it's traveled. The fragments have traveled. See, there are more fragments here. There are more portions and more fragments here that we are seeing. There you go. This one again. Big pieces, big chunks which have landed. That's more than a foot and a half of the material or the external covering itself. And then this person is walking across to that particular projectile where he finds it. Now they say it is behind the bike. If you remember the first set of pictures, the bike was right there. Now there you go. We're going to freeze these pictures. They're going to walk, and that's where it is. So it's created a bit of a hole. It's created a bit of a trail as it comes there, and more people are now coming to see these pictures of this projectile. Now these are pictures from Udhampur. More pictures will be coming through. These are pictures from Udhampur that we've got. There are pictures from Jaisalmer that have come. The Jaisalmer first picture, now this is confirmation. This is an open field where this piece has landed. There is also a piece that's landed in a huge projectile that's landed in Sirsa. So clearly Pakistan upping the ante and sending these projectiles. The world needs to watch these. The world has to see the ballistic missiles that were launched by Pakistan soon after they got the... Look at the crater. Look at this gap. It's opened it wide out here. And something's landed here too. So that's what the people are saying, that it's come from the skies. The people are pointing it out. It came from the skies. It came from there. And it's landed here. So there are drones that have landed. There are missiles that have landed near Pokhran. In Jaisalmer, there are big drone chunks that landed, which show that they had huge markings and also that they had munitions loaded on it. So let's try and understand where all Pakistan, soon after the IMF bailout got a thumbs up for them, attacked Indian side on the western borders. Let's look at it. So they very actively targeted Udhampur. There is something that landed in Udhampur, but the Air Force station and the base there in Udhampur is safe. There is no damage done. They have attacked Jammu city vigorously, but right across here on Jammu, here on a park post, which was launching the tubes for drones, we have actually neutralized. There is Pathankot. Now, seriously, there has been some, at least 25, Anshul was there from the CNN News 18 overnight at Pathankot, and he said at least 25 explosions over the skies I've heard overnight, and Pathankot they've actively tried to target. There is also Sirsa. Now, the question is, Sirsa, where was this projectile aimed at? Was the Sirsa projectile intercepted, or this missile over the Sirsa skies intercepted while it was on its route to the national capital? Was it somewhere around Delhi? That's the big question. Did Pakistan, did Rawalpindi, did General Asim Munir and co. target the national capital soon after the IMF bailout? That's the big question because of this missile that was intercepted over Sirsa. Now, what have we done? Soon after this happens, around midnight, between 12 to 12:30 p.m., 12:30 a.m., there is a counter that India launches. Now, India's counter is so fast, so swift, that they have had huge reversals. What did we target? India targeted, the Indian Armed Forces targeted Islamabad, Noor Khan base, the PAF Murid base, Narowal, Shekhupura, Lahore, the Rafiki Air Base, and the Sukur Airport in Sindh. All of them were targeted, and this is confirmed now that the base in Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi has suffered serious reversals. There are actually reports that the Pakistanis, let's see if they confirm it, that their entire fleet of C-130s has been rendered ineffective here. They have suffered serious reversals. They couldn't operate their machines in Pindi. Then also the Narowal Air Base, again they couldn't operate their machines from here because the air base has been hit. It's been hit hard. And there is one more, which was one more airbase that's been hit in Chakwal, or let me just see that. Yeah, in Shorokot. So this airbase also has been hit, and of course projectiles have landed, and there is confirmation of landings that have happened in Lahore where certain installations have been hit, Zaka. So clearly India's reaction has been far more punitive, and it's hurt the Pakistanis than what they attempted. But this treachery, the international community must note that the moment they get the bailout, Zaka, look what they unleashed.
Absolutely, and I think Omar Abdullah has underlined that point as well, that it can't be that Pakistan is given this bailout after bailout after bailout, and then some of those monies are diverted into directing terror and active aggression against India. I also want to get a quick word in from Anvit, who's in Jaisalmer, where we saw that massive image. It was a 10-feet long projectile, a rocket of some form. Anvit, if you're there, which part of Jaisalmer is it? It seemed like rural desert. What are the locals telling you? I mean, when did this land? How did they end up finding it? And I presume that either the army or the police would have taken away these wreckage, this remnants.
Yes, Zaka, the piece that has fallen has fallen in Pokhran. We were attempting to go towards the border, international border ahead of Jaisalmer. We were stopped in, ahead of Tanot. We were stopped in Ramgarh. Ramgarh stands to be the last village beyond which civilian movement is not allowed. Media is also not allowed. Army has taken over and the BSF posts. From there, all the vehicles are being returned. You can see this road is completely blocked. We are ahead of Jaisalmer in Ramgarh right now. In this area, last to last night, a huge shelling was witnessed, and many drones were also witnessed. Witnesses have said that many bombs were dropped, and some portions of drones that were intercepted by India have also fallen in this area. Yesterday we had shown how in Kishan Ghat one such piece was in a controlled detonation by the military. It was taken away. We have one witness who had witnessed huge amount of drone crashing in this area. Sir, आप यहीं रहते हैं?
जी, हम रामगढ़ रहते हैं।
यहाँ पे परसों काफी ड्रोन शेलिंग्स वगैरह हुई थी।
देखिए, यहाँ परसों रात को पाकिस्तान की तरफ से कुछ ड्रोन आए, तो हमारी सेना ने उसको तुरंत ही उसको
यहाँ पे भी कुछ
हाँ, थोड़ा सा यहाँ पास कुछ गिरा था, वो फिर उसको पुलिस और सेना ने उसको ले लिया। तो देखिए, यहाँ सेना हमारी पूरी मुस्तैद से तैयार है, और उसके साथ साथ माते श्री तनोट राय घंटियालिया वो भी तैयार है। जब 1971 में लड़ाई हुआ था तो माते श्री तनोट राय से कोई भी बम फटा नहीं, कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ, अभी भी वैसा ही है, कोई भय वगैरह डर की कोई ऐसा नहीं है।
So basically, in this area, a lot of bombs and portions of drones that have fallen, that were intercepted, have fallen, and the army had been collecting all of those with the local police. Yesterday also forensic teams were there in Kishan Ghat as well as in Ramgarh area, and further from here in Tanot as well. All the pieces have been gathered. They've been sent for examination to find out what is the origin, and also to find out what could have been the implication if they had exploded.
We'll leave it at that. I want to go to this piece of breaking news that MEA briefing has now been confirmed at 10:30 a.m. That is what we are given to understand. This is on Operation Sindoor. Remember, for the last 3 days, it's the Foreign Secretary who's been briefing the contingent of the media. So it will likely be a joint briefing of the MEA as well as officials from the Ministry of Defence. Last 2 days, it was the young women officers from the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army, Wing Commander Singh and Colonel Qureshi. Both of them are also expected to be flanking the Foreign Secretary. But it has been a serious escalation overnight between the 9th and 10th, the night between the 9th and 10th of May. Pakistan, immediately after the announcement of the IMF bailout, has upped the ante in an attempt to try and take out some of the forward air bases of the Indian Air Force. They've targeted the Udhampur Air Force Station. They've targeted Udhampur, of course, is the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Army Command. Also tried to hit the Jammu Air Force Station, Pathankot, which is our biggest forward air base. It has some of the squadrons of our 4.5 generation fighter jets. Also over the Sirsa Air Force Station. So multiple Air Force stations the Pakistanis tried to take out overnight. And this is the first sort of rung in the escalation ladder where two states or two armies, two air forces that are trying to take out each other's air force stations, because if the enemy cannot scramble his jets, then that is a serious tactical advantage that you have at the starting of any conflict. Siddhant is now joining us with further details. So the MEA briefing at 10:30 a.m., is it just going to be the Foreign Secretary, or is it going to follow the same pattern that we saw the last couple of days, Siddhant, the two young Army and Air Force officers also flanking the Foreign Secretary?
Well, so far, Zaka, we have a very limited details, but perhaps it could be the same format. What we have been seeing in last three press briefings of Operation Sindoor. In fact, we just got the confirmation from the government that at 10:30 there's going to be the press briefing, the joint press briefing of Ministry of External Affairs and Ministry of Defence. Perhaps there was a briefing which was scheduled early in the morning at around 5:45 a.m. Zaka. That briefing got postponed because the operations were going on. The focus was in the skies, and it was decided to postpone it to 10 a.m. And now we are getting to know that finally, Ministry of External Affairs has announced that there's going to be the joint press conference between Foreign Ministry and Defense Ministry at around 10:30. But this would be the first time that when Indian government will put its record straight as far as the developments which have taken place in last 12 hours. Zaka, both sides are climbing the escalatory ladder. Perhaps Indian side has taken down the Pak air bases. In fact, Pakistan has attempted to target key Indian military installations. In fact, Fateh missiles have also been used by Pakistan. The attempt to target Sirsa was thwarted by the Indian forces. So,
okay, Siddharth, we're going to come to you as and when that briefing begins. I want to bring you up to speed. If you're joining us at 8:30 this Saturday morning, these are the 5 or 6 big headlines that you need to know. It's been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Multiple locations targeted by Pakistan here in India, and India giving it back in kind. Headline number 1, in Srinagar, in the outskirts, in a place called Lasjan, parts of a Pakistani Air Force jet, wreckage of a Pakistani Air Force jet have been found. These are the pictures of that in the Lasjan area. It's landed, thankfully, in the backyard of a residential complex, and therefore no one has been hurt or injured in the process. Headline number 2, India manages to intercept Pakistani drones. This is from the other side of the Jammu border, on the other side of the international border in Jammu, a place called Narwal. We're given to understand, you can see 2 sets of pictures. One, the intercepts happening on the background of the night sky. These are CCTV images. The intercepts happening in the middle of the sky. And the second set of images are the wreckage. There you go, the smoke and fire out in the fields of Jammu. You can see that happening. That's headline number 2. Headline number 3, we're given to understand a part of a drone. This is wreckage that's been found in the fields of Amritsar. Amritsar over the last couple of nights has been hot. There's been a lot of activity, drone activity. This again seems to be the wreckage of a drone. Yesterday, India did the unprecedented step of calling out Turkey and saying Turkish-made drones were being used by Pakistan on probing missions, on exploratory missions to try and test India's air defenses. Headline number 4, a Pakistani projectile has been found in Lasjan. Like I said, this is believed to be parts or remnants of a downed F-16. There's also confirmation of a dogfight that happened over the skies of Srinagar. 5 missiles, we're given to understand, were fired from the Srinagar military base and then believed to have brought down what is believed to be a Pakistan Air Force jet, the make of which we don't know. Hopefully we will get some confirmation of that from the Foreign Secretary's briefing in about a couple of hours' time. Headline number 5, a massive bomb-like object. It's about 10 to 12 feet long. It's huge. It's been found in a place called Jamla. It's a village in Pokhran in the wider Jaisalmer region of Pakistan, of Rajasthan. That, of course, you can see the second image, which shows that massive, almost 10-12 feet long rocket-like projectile that's been landed there, that's been neutralized there. The Indian Army has neutralized this missile attack in the sky. So this is headline number 5. Headline number 6, Pakistan also targeting civilian areas. In Jammu, there have been, unfortunately, 5 deaths, 5 civilians who have died. In Rajouri, a district collector level officer has also passed away. Unfortunately, his house was the target of heavy shelling. There's been heavy artillery shelling, both on the line of control as well as on the international border. Pakistani projectiles also hitting a temple, a famous temple in Jammu called the Shambhu Temple. Headline number 7, damaged parts of a drone or something like a drone has been found in Udhampur. This is in the Narsu part of Udhampur district. We don't know further details, but it seems like wreckage from a drone yesterday. Udhampur, of course, is the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Command, and the attempt there was to try and target the Northern Command headquarters as well. Security forces have reached the spot. I also want to show that Shambhu Temple picture. Again, this is wreckage from a projectile of some sort at the Shambhu Temple, a very famous temple in Jammu. Thankfully, again, it landed in the outer perimeter of the temple complex, and therefore there's been no injuries or no one has been hurt. That, of course, again, a famous temple in Jammu. So clearly, the activities have increased between both India and Pakistan in the intervening night between the 9th and 10th of May. Akash is joining us from Jammu, where multiple attempts have happened in civilian pockets as well as the Air Force station, but all of it has been thwarted. Akash, what is the latest that you're hearing from top defense sources?
Right, Zaka, I'm standing in this Rehari colony. First of all, I'll try to give you a sense of what has happened here. There you have forensic teams and, in fact, the police here. This is one civilian property that has got damaged because of the sort of attacks that we have seen in the morning today. And there I am being given this sort of, this is something, a part of possibly a drone or the missile or the projectile that came here. And there you have. There you see, these are the individuals who have handed over this thing to me, and they are saying that this was a part of the sort of damage and, in fact, the projectile that came here. I have been told that many people who were, here in the house got injured. I'll try to talk to them as well as to what actually happened. But before that, I'll try to give you a sense as to what actually happened. There you have the top floor of the house that has got damaged. Multiple cars that have been standing here, in fact, have got the damage. There you have in the close vicinity around 50-meter area, is damaged. We still not, don't know as to if it was a drone or missile. But I'll try to, in fact, talk to the individuals as well. I'll try to talk to them. सर क्या हुआ था यहाँ पे और कितने बजे हुआ बता पाएंगे आप अभी आए हैं यहाँ का कोई है क्या हुआ है यहाँ पर
मिसाइल वगैरह वो रेड नीचे रही है छत पे
कितने लोग रहते हैं इस घर में
यहाँ पे ऊपर 4 रहते हैं सेकंड फ्लोर में भी 4 रहते हैं नीचे 6 रहते हैं
तो वो ठीक है अभी
हाँ जी
उनको कोई चोट वगैरह लगी उनको चोट वगैरह नहीं लगी अभी ये फॉरेंसिक्स वगैरह टीम कितने बजे हुआ लगभग कितने बजे कहा
ये 5:50 पे
सुबह 5:50 पे तो किसने देखा कोई मिसाइल वगैरह थी या ड्रोन वगैरह था क्योंकि लगा
लोग सोए हुए थे अचानक से आवाज आई सभी उठे
जम्मू मेडिकल कॉलेज पास में है हमें बोला जा रहा है कि शायद वहाँ पे टारगेट था कुछ ऐसा कुछ बताया यहाँ पे जो एजेंसीज काम कर रही हैं Alright, Zaka, forensics teams are here. Once again, I'll try to give you the visuals of this particular house. This is the house, that has in fact got the damage. I'll show you the, in fact, visuals of the, workers who have been in fact there, the police, Jammu Kashmir police, and also the civil defense staff. Forensics teams are basically checking, the sort of damage and in fact the sort of thing, the projectile that was used. But it is unfortunate that civilian properties are being targeted. Either, it is a failure or it is intentionally being done. In both the cases, Pakistan is exposed because they have been saying that they don't want to escalate. But in this particular case, we have been seeing that how they have been launching attacks. And since last night, late in the evening, we have seen that starting from Jammu, they have been targeting many properties. We have seen the Firozpur area as well, where civilian property was targeted. And here in Jammu as well, we have this civilian property that was on target and in fact that has received sort of damage. Zaka.
All right, Akash, we'll come back to you in just a bit, but we're getting this piece of breaking news. Reuters is reporting, and we want to be very, very responsible and restrained in our reporting. Pakistani Prime Minister, and we can, it's flashing on your screen at the bottom half as well. The Pakistani Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, has called a meeting of the National Command Authority. It is the authority that has overseen the nuclear powers or the nuclear command authority of the Pakistani military. He has called for a meeting of the National Command Authority today on Saturday. The Pakistani military has confirmed this to Reuters after Islamabad launched a major military operation against India in the night between 9th and 10th. The National Command Authority is the top body for civilian as well as military officials that take serious security decisions, including those related to the nuclear arsenal of Pakistan. This could be saber-rattling. I don't think we should fall for this propaganda, but clearly the Pakistanis seem to be ratcheting up. Last night, they're escalating it, going a couple of notches up the escalation ladder. India forced to respond, to retaliate to that. Now, some nuclear saber-rattling as well by the Pakistani Prime Minister. He's called for a meeting of the National Command Authority, which will have the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, the Defense Minister, and of course, the heads of the armed forces as well, the Chief of Army Staff, Navy and Air Force Staff. Let me go across to Aman Sharma, our political editor. He's joining us live from outside South Block. As we expect that press conference by the Foreign Secretary as well as the individuals, the officers of the Army and the Navy. What's the reading in South Block, Aman? What is the big picture? Because this is a serious escalation that Pakistan has tried in the last 6-7 hours or so.
Well, Zaka, what I'm hearing right now is that top government sources are slamming the IMF bailout to Pakistan last evening. They are clearly saying what has happened since today morning underlines India's objections yesterday to IMF of the possibility of the misuse of the debt financing funds for state-sponsored cross-border strikes, terrorism by Pakistan. India is underlining this again, saying that the IMF bailout was completely mistimed and Pakistan actually was waiting for this money to start its big operation against India. India sources are saying that with billions in the bank, Pakistan is now putting missiles in the air against India. The world community needs to realize this, wake up to it, and what it has done by arming Pakistan again and again with these IMF funds. So I think at this press conference, which we will see at 10:30 a.m., India could raise this point that this IMF bailout is ending up arming Pakistan against India, and especially its terrorist activity and the escalatory ladder that Pakistan is on. See, Zaka, government sources are very, very clear that the original escalation is of April 22nd, with the Pahalgam attack which Pakistan did. India did its offensive on May 7th, 96 hours ago, by doing Operation Sindoor, but only targeting terrorist infrastructure of Pakistan, not targeting any military infrastructure, not targeting the civilian population. The targeting of the military infrastructure, that cycle, Zaka, Indian government sources are saying has been started by Pakistan. On the morning of May 8th, we saw the first these 300 to 400 drones trying to attack our front air bases, and today morning, with missiles, Pakistan is trying to take out our multiple air bases, Pathankot, Udhampur. All these attacks have been foiled, but Pakistan intention is very clear to take up this escalatory ladder, and they stopped till the IMF payout. They didn't do it. It was more an intel exercise, this drone which were flown, but now this is the ultimate attack by Pakistan, and India is responding very, very strongly. India has decided that if you will target our military infrastructure, we will take out your military infrastructure as well. And India has targeted Rawalpindi's airbase. This is deep inside Pakistan, Zaka, and this is a big, big message to Pakistan that if Pakistan does not stop here, India will go to any lengths to teach Pakistan a firm lesson. We'll hear more about it at the 10:30 briefing. I think I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think Indian government is very, very upset over this IMF bailout, and is very clearly saying that Pakistan is to blame for this escalation ladder that we are on.
And just very quickly, there was some note or some justification of why India abstained at the IMF meeting yesterday. What's the rationale? What's the reasoning behind that?
Zaka, the government says that basically there is no option to say a no to a vote. You can either abstain or say yes. That has been the convention at the IMF, and IMF has many member countries, but every member country is not like one member, one vote. Your economic strength actually has a larger proportion in the vote there. So there are many questions being asked, Zaka, here also, that, why did the US not come out strongly to block this bailout for the IMF for Pakistan? So a lot of questions are being asked in the Indian security establishment, because India yesterday put up a very, very strong objection to this IMF bailout. India was also preparing for it for the last 2 to 3 days, knowing very well that if Pakistan gets this money, it could, the escalation in fact could climb, and India's fears are only coming true. The world community needs to sit up and realize that, what it has done yesterday, and I think India is going to strongly protest about this at the press conference as well, I believe.
All right, Aman, thanks for that. We'll come back to you at the 10 o'clock press conference, 10:30 press conference. Now, Anand, you have the images of the intercept of the ballistic missile?
This is over the Sirsa skies and what looks to be a portion of the Fateh missile. So this is from Sirsa. It's landed on a field. It was intercepted on the skies of Sirsa. I'm going to check with our team if we can put out the map and also the visuals. We can split it on this wall so that our viewers can understand the map graphics and with these visuals, because it's landed on Sirsa. And why this Sirsa is important? Because this Fateh missile, this ballistic missile, many believe was intended towards the national capital. It was intended towards Delhi. We'll try and show you these visuals and try and split it here on this wall itself with the map graphics and these pictures, because then you can understand where this is. So if you can just pull this out, put this out, and just the map, because where Sirsa is, we need to understand where Sirsa is. Sirsa and the trajectory of the missile, many believe, was headed towards the national capital. And this is the big portion. This is the big portion. This is the big portion of the back end of the Fateh missile. So you'll see the tail, and that's the tail portion of the Fateh missile. Now you see These are authorities who are already there. The local police is already there, cordoning off, and now they're taking them away. It's being carted away. The portions have been now lifted, put on the back of a big vehicle, a pickup truck, and then they'll be carted away. This is the big shot. Now, this is the picture. Now, look at this. This is the Fateh missile back end. Now, if you have seen pictures of Pakistan flaunting the Fateh missile, the rear end of this portion with the wings and this is exactly similar to the design of the Fateh missile, and that's the reason why the ballistic missile launched towards the national capital. That is the level of escalation that Pakistan has triggered. Soon after the IMF bailout. So within 15 minutes of the IMF bailout at 12:05 a.m., that's when this was first reported or registered, that the possibility of ballistic missiles being fired towards Bharat. And later in the night, the confirmation coming, this has landed, it's been intercepted. So our air defense systems, the Indian forces air defense systems are capable of thwarting even ballistic missiles. This is the biggest proof of it, and perhaps egg on the face of the Pakistanis at multiple levels. But more importantly, how treacherous Pakistan can be. This missile has landed on a field in Haryana, in Sirsa, and this is where it is. Now have a look at this. This is Sirsa. This is where this missile has landed. Look at the trajectory. Where is the national capital? The trajectory of this missile was towards the national capital. That's what many people are expecting this. We are going to wait for confirmation during the media briefing that this missile, these are portions of the missile. Again, more pictures coming through. More small fragments that after this entire missile was disintegrated, it was demolished, it was intercepted, and fragments have landed all across in Sirsa, in Haryana. And understand this, Sirsa, this is the range, this was the direction, this is the national capital region. So that's the reason why this big question is being asked. Was this ballistic missile, along with a few others that were fired by the Pakistanis, intended not just as military installations, but also perhaps certain portions of the national capital? And if that is something which is confirmed, if it is confirmed in the briefing today, that is serious escalation by the Pakistanis. And more importantly, this has come after the IMF bailout, where they tried to play with a begging bowl saying, help us out. $137 billion overextension of their debt to the world, and they continue to borrow and redirect this money towards acts of war. Clear acts of war, clear acts of military escalation by Pakistan, when Bharat's fight has been only against terror. It was a war on terror, not a war against Pakistan, but the Pak military, the Pak state is backing jihadis, terrorists, jihadi tanzeems, and this is what they are willing to launch ballistic missiles because Bharat has waged a war on terror. Zaka.
A massive escalation, no doubt about it. You had, these swarms of drones, unarmed drones, no explosives there. Then you had explosive-laden drones. Then you had these short-range missiles, and now you have the ballistic missile. This is a medium-range Fatah-II missile, a range of about 400 kilometers, directed en route to Delhi, and it was intercepted in the skies over Haryana. And those pictures that Anand was showing, quite dramatic, that the manner in which it's been intercepted as well. Of course, India's air defense systems working round the clock into the T. Let me go across to Arun Danta and Arunima, both of whom are joining us. So what's the word in Delhi this Saturday morning, Arun Danta? Clearly, the government is closely following all of these developments. It's been a very hot night. Escalation by Pakistan, India responding for good measure. What is the reading in government this Saturday morning?
That's right, Zaka. Yesterday that was the reason why you saw those long meetings taking place here. Prime Minister Modi chaired 3-4 important meetings. In fact, the last meeting concluded somewhere around 12 with the Foreign Secretary and the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, and we were told that in fact the RAW Chief and NSA Ajit Doval, IB Chief, they all were present in that meeting. Before that, of course, we saw that the review meeting conducted by Prime Minister Modi with Rajnath Singh, three Tri-Services Chief, NSA, in fact, RAW Chief and IB Chief were present in that. And also, before that, there was a meeting with the veterans and the former chiefs of different forces of the country. And in fact, they were, of course, expecting some sort of misadventure by Pakistan yesterday night, and that's the reason why we saw that India was in fact ready for any sort of action. That's the reason why we saw that how Indian forces
have retaliated to Pakistan's drones or the ballistic missiles which they fired. And of course we know that Prime Minister Modi is very closely monitoring the situation. It's been 4-5 days since when we are given to understand that Prime Minister Modi has been awake during the night, has been constantly in touch with the NSA Ajit Doval. At this point, I'm outside the residence of Prime Minister Modi. It seems calm at this point, but perhaps the way action is taking place, you will see flurry of meetings.
I think there will be meetings in the next few hours. Thanks for that, Arun. We'll be in touch with you. Arunima is also joining us, but we got this breaking news. The U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, let's go to that breaking news. Marco Rubio has now spoken directly to the Pakistan Chief of Army Staff, General Asim Munir. This happened just a few hours ago. This is the first conversation that any international official has had directly with the Pakistani Army Chief. Remember, the Deputy Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia was in Islamabad just last night. He was part of that meeting that was hosted by the Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. But this direct call between Marco Rubio and the Chief of Army Staff, General Munir, is an important one. It's the first conversation that an international official has had with General Munir. We'll try and get Siddhant. Siddhant is on the phone line. So Rubio has spoken with the Pakistani NSA, who's also the DGISI, General Malik. But now a direct conversation with General Munir, who, of course, the ball is really in his court. If he stops, then India will stop.
But yes, that's the message. That's exactly the message, Zaka. And in fact, last time around, Marco Rubio spoke to Shehbaz Sharif. But perhaps Marco Rubio also must have realized that Shehbaz Sharif is ineffective and he's just a puppet prime minister. And this is the reason that he is speaking to the real boss of Pakistan, perhaps the mastermind of Pahalgam terror attack, Asim Munir. And in fact, Reuters is reporting, Zaka, that this conversation has taken place. And as we were speaking before also, that US wants both sides to de-escalate. In fact, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also said that President wants both sides to de-escalate. Perhaps US is also giving efforts in the same direction. This is the second telephonic conversation that Marco Rubio had with the Pakistani side. In fact, last time he spoke to Shehbaz Sharif, that call was really ineffective. Nothing happened after that. So today he decided to speak directly to Asim Munir, the Army General. Perhaps it also reflects upon, and perhaps it's once again established that, who runs the show in Pakistan. And if US wants Pakistan to de-escalate, then US has to speak directly to the Army General, not somebody from the political.
We've got an update from the ADG PI of the Indian Army as well. We'll go to Arunima with this. Basically, the ADG PI putting out a tweet saying Pakistan's blatant escalation with drone strikes and other munitions continues along our western borders. In one such incident today, approximately around 5 a.m., multiple enemy drones were spotted flying over the Khasa Cant, the Khasa cantonment in Amritsar. The hostile drones were instantly engaged and destroyed by our air defense units. So now we're getting to hear of multiple such drone and missile attacks. Arunima, you're in North Block, South Block. Whereabouts are you, and what is the word in from government this morning?
Yes, so the Raisina Hills is abuzz with activities. South Block has had called for a press conference at about 5:30, but I think this is the air operation which led them to postponement. And now at 10:30, the Foreign Secretary is likely to brief. What ADGPI has put out is that at about 5 a.m. this morning, there were multiple enemy armed drones that were spotted over the Khasa Cant in Amritsar. The hostile drones were instantly engaged and destroyed. And Pakistan's blatant attempt to violate India's sovereignty and endanger civilians' life is unacceptable. 3 civilians have been killed in what has happened since last night, including one district level official there in Rajouri. And what the Border Security Force has also put out is that while the Jammu Air Base was getting targeted around 9 p.m., 2100 hours last night, there was intense firing at the Jammu stretch of the international border as well. So back to back 2 days now, we've seen. Day before yesterday, we saw it in Samba. Yesterday at Jammu, attempts to also carry out infiltration while these air raids are going on. Yesterday they had shot dead 7 from the Jaish-e-Mohammed module in Samba. Yesterday also BSF confirming that there was firing at the Jammu sector, and now ADGPI confirming that there were hostile drones over Amritsar as early as this morning 5 a.m. Around the same time, tentatively, we were told there was a dogfight in Srinagar, and for that we're still waiting for the ADGPI and for the Air Command to tell us exactly what is the situation. but definitely things have escalated in the last 24 hours.
All right, I also want to go across to Akash Sharma, who is more on this. So the Army's first official statement this morning, the ADGPI saying there's some hostile drones, a swarm of drones over the Khasa cantonment in Amritsar, and those have been neutralized. Akash, what more are you hearing?
Right. So first of all, two important things in this tweet by the ADGPI. First one, that they are somewhere acknowledging the attack launched towards Amritsar today in the morning that we had also reported Zaka. And second, that they are saying the message is loud and clear that it cannot be accepted. Armed forces are in fact reacting since morning, and we have been learning, as Arunima pointed out, the dogfight, of course, the air defense, thwarting the attempts and destroying the enemy drones, and also Indian Army destroying the enemy posts. So a number of things are happening, but civilians are somewhere affected, Zaka. I have been mentioning this since morning, that while they are targeting the military infrastructure, they are also possibly targeting and intentionally targeting, civilian properties, and this is the reason why we have the damages like such that I am showing you in the visuals in the backdrop. Zaka, Indian Army and in fact Indian Armed Forces are going to brief us officially in some time from now, where we'll get to know as to what was the sort of action that was taken last night in retaliation. Of course, we know that how their air defense systems at different Air Force stations in Pakistan were targeted and in fact destroyed. But as far as other information is concerned and other inputs are concerned, so we are waiting for that particular brief. I'll once again try to show you the visuals there. There you can see the damage. Zaka, it was it is not in fact confirmed as to what it was. I'm showing you those broken glasses of that particular window there. People are also talking about some sort of projectile and then the splinters. So possibly it can be a kamikaze drone that hit the building and then got destroyed. So we are waiting for the confirmation. Okay. But looking at the damage, it seems there you have the main target was that building. Rajeshji, if you can show that building was the main target, Zaka, and then okay, I believe CM is there. Yes, CM is there, and I'll try to.
All right, we'll come back to you, Akash, in a moment as you try to go across and see if we can get a soundbite from Omar Abdullah. But the ADGPI's tweet showing these pictures as well. Those are the remnants of the Pakistani drone that was sighted above the Khasa cantonment in Amritsar. Arunima is also there with us. I can see some wheels. I'm not sure what the wheels are. Clearly, it seems to have hit something on the ground. Those are the remnants, the wreckage that you can see from the drones that were sent over the Amritsar cantonment. Arunima, what more do we know?
So there's also a video that has been tweeted out by the ADGPI handle. I think it is showing how the drone attack, the hostile drone attack, was taken down, and these pictures, gives you a sense of the marking that you see. YHAPFWH. The filling date is mentioned there. The filled lot is mentioned. The explosive lot, the weight, the total. So this looks like an ammunition that was being carried with the drone that the ADGPI has tweeted out. The ammunition and the remains of the drones, and also the time when the drone was intercepted. So there's visual proof, there's video evidence that is now being given out, and this is a trend that we have seen ever since Operation Sindoor has begun. And top government sources, government functionaries actually confirmed this to me, that after Balakot and after the surgical strike post Uri, there was a lot of question mark. Pakistan tried to negate the surgical strike by saying that nothing has happened really here. But this time India has gone prepared with technological advancement. Also, it is better prepared. It's putting out evidence to show Pakistan's complicity. All these labeling on the ammunition, the filling date, the batch number, the lot number is going to be shown to the international community to prove that Pakistan's escalation, and Pakistan is trying to target civilians, target our military base, escalate the entire situation. And Pakistan is definitely suffering a bloody nose by the way their misadventure is being countered by our air defense system.
All right, Arunima, we'll come back to you. That's the Indian Army statement. On the left, you're seeing images from Rahari in Jammu, where the Chief Minister, I believe, has gone to the residence of the affected victim there. I believe Akash is there for us. Akash, tell us, did Omar Abdullah say anything as he came into this in this house that's been hit yesterday by a Pakistani projectile? Did he say anything to the media, or are we waiting for him to come back and then speak to the media?
Not yet, Zaka. He has gone, upstairs to check the sort of damage that this property has received. Possibly he'll be, coming back and will be speaking to media. But this is important, given the fact that civilian properties are being targeted, and we have, received this sort of damage where not just this property but the adjacent properties are also damaged. In fact, the vehicles that are standing on this particular road, Rajesh will show you the visual. In fact, have got damaged. We have these security officials who have been trying, who have been in fact trying to get the people away from this particular place. But then Umar Abdullah is very much here, and in fact he is expected to speak to media in some time from now. People are standing here, locals are standing here. They have been in fact saying since morning that they need some sort of action. Pakistan should be there should be some sort of retaliation, and there should be some sort of answer to Pakistan. I was speaking to one lady, she was crying. She's saying that this is her house and she could have lost her life in this particular attack. But at this point in time, I'm showing you the visuals where CM has gone upstairs to check the sort of damage that this property has received, Zaka. And there you have civil defense volunteers, the Jammu Kashmir police, and also the CRP. In some time from now, it is expected that Umar Abdullah will be speaking to media. But yes, at least 10 people we have been told have sustained injuries in this particular attack in this vicinity, Zaka.
All right, Akash, thanks for that. Anand is also here as we try and bring you some pictures. There's been a whole bunch of pictures of remnants of drones, projectiles, missiles that have been spotted in different parts from Jammu to Jaisalmer. This is the picture of the home in Rehari. But Anand, this is what the ADGPI has just tweeted. This seems to be the wreckage of a drone over Amritsar cantonment.
See, not just the drone. Look at the size of the drone. These are not the small drones anymore. These are far bigger now, and they have these markings. So the ADGPI has also figured out the markings, and of course they had munition. They had a certain level of payload which was supposed to be for impact. So clearly the Pakistanis over the last 2 or 3 days have been sending drones without any munition as probing, and this is exactly what there was a preparedness, there was an understanding what the Pakistanis are trying to do, but they underestimated Bharat's capabilities. They thought that over 2 days the entire air defense system would have been used up and there would be a free passage for their missiles and for their drones with a huge amount of payload and munitions. So that is something that's been marked out, but they've been neutralized. They've been neutralized by our air defense systems, and perhaps the Pakistanis don't understand. They have a stomach for escalation only for 3 days. They cannot fight an intense war for more than 3 or 4 days. That's the reality. Bharat is ready for 6 months. Bharat is ready for 6 months, and if required more. That's the difference. So they don't know who they are taking panga with, and the fact is that this is egg on the face again for 4 nights in a row for General Asim Munir. 4 nights in a row, he's just met with more failures, and on the other hand, look at the losses. The Noor Khan airbase in Pindi has not just been destroyed, but there is a huge reversal for the Pakistanis there. Their machines can't take off because they have been rendered ineffective across 3 airbases. That's what's happened. But here, this time around, the locals need to be aware. Our hearts go and our prayers with those who are having material loss of, because of their houses and their fields being damaged, and also because of people who are getting injured or loss of lives of civilians. But please don't go close to any of these munitions. That's the important part. Stay away, stay clear, because some of these may be live munitions.
So
yes, Zaka.
We're getting live pictures of Omar Abdullah just coming out from that house in Rehari. I believe he's speaking to the media. If we can go to those pictures. Omar Abdullah has gone to an affected home in Rehari in Jammu. Can we show those pictures, please? Yeah, there you go. That's the affected home. He's just come out. He's, I think, met with the individuals there. In Rajouri also, one district collector officer district collector rank officer has lost his life. In all, 5 people have lost, 5 civilians have lost their life in Jammu. Akash is there. Akash, Omar still inside the house. Is he making his way out? Has he said anything to the media yet?
Zaka, I cannot hear you. Omar Abdullah is still, assessing the situation. In fact, is taking a stock of the situation. In fact, he has gone inside the second house where the lady, who owns this house, has gone, in fact, inside and is somewhere briefing the chief minister as to what actually happened, at what time, and what was the intensity. And then he is coming out. Possibly, we'll try to speak to him as well as to now when civilians are targeted and their properties are targeted. What is All right, all right, all right, all right. So, you know, it has in fact gone to some third property now, and in some now he is expected to speak to media. But then at this point in time, this is very important. There is a series, in fact, of houses, in fact, you know, which have in fact received you know, this sort of damage, where we have been told that there was possibly a drone that hit the building and then got exploded, and because of those splinters, we have the nearby properties, you know, also got damaged. And in fact, the vehicles that are standing here, you can see the debris there on this particular car, and a lot of you know, people you know, are standing here at this point in time, and they are very furious because of the fact that they have been saying that we are seeing these actions on a daily basis now, and now you know, some sort of strong retaliation you know, should be there from the Indian Armed Forces.
I'll come back to you, Akash, as and when the Chief Minister comes out. He's visiting multiple houses which have been affected in Rehari. Yes, Anand, you were showing us the ADGPI the tweet
yes,
and the video.
Let's go back to the pictures. The fact is that we'd go back to now. This has payload. Now, the only thing for our viewers and whoever are there in these local areas have to be that if there are fragments, portions that fall of debris or destroyed missiles, etc., or drones, just stay clear of them. Don't go and touch any of these parts, because a lot of them seem to have live munitions. The ADGPI has actually circled out, and this is live payload. So with the aim, with the intent to destroy, destruct and hurt, and it's ballistic missiles, there are other projectiles, there's loitering munition, and also drones with a certain level of capability. If you see the wheels on these drones, it surely shows that it was carrying a significant level of payload with the intent of trying to drop and then perhaps head back. Though you can see these. So we have to see the nature, and a lot of these are either Turkey made or China made, these drones. Now these are the houses. Omar Abdullah is there at this residence. Is he coming out? I don't think he's speaking to the media. He's stepping out. These are live visuals coming through. The media is trying to speak with him, but he's not speaking. He's just going to meet the families, and perhaps he'll move away from this location and then speak to the media later on. He's actually tweeted, and he said that he's alarmed at the fact that the international community has allowed this entire bailout. And I think there is going to be, Zaka, Pallavi is getting us more information that Bharat is going to push for a serious reconsideration of this bailout that's been given to the Pakistanis. This is treachery, and this is deliberate escalation. You said Marco Rubio has dialed General Munir, but the dialing has to go to the IMF. How did they approve this bailout without understanding Pak's intent? Look at what they've done. They're attacking civilian installations, a temple near Jammu. That lady is actually turned around and said, "Bahut ho gaya, Modi ji, ab maro inko." Bahut ho gaya. We've shown enough and more of restraint, because they don't seem to learn. Omar Abdullah himself is very, very peeved. If you look at it, he's also showing great amount of restraint in his emotions when he's tweeting as a chief minister. He's putting out and saying, look what the Pakistanis are doing and look what the international community has allowed. I think there is a serious dissent and dissonance with the IMF for what they have done in a situation like this. You can't go and give a nation which is actually standing for according state funerals to jihadis and proscribed terrorists. You can't give them a $1.3 billion bailout. And that's what the IMF has gone ahead and done.
All right, we're getting that piece of breaking news now. Top official government sources telling Pallavi Ghosh that India will go back to the International Monetary Fund and ask them to reconsider the bailout that's been given to Pakistan. It's over $1 billion. It's part of the $7 billion tranche, the agreement between the IMF and Pakistan over a 4-year period. India shall use international pressure, diplomatic pressure, to wake the conscience of the IMF. Operation Sindoor is no way for closure. India has not and will not target civilians. The opposite is what Pakistan is doing. Pallavi Ghosh, tell us more. I mean, ultimately, look, if the Americans, who have 17% weightage on the IMF board, if they say no, this bailout can be cancelled. But why haven't the Americans said that? And what is India's strategy from here on out?
That's exactly the question which India is asking. Why is it that America said no? Because Donald Trump's earlier statement, where he said that we've given $3.3 billion to Pakistan, but we've got nothing out of them, they've done nothing for us, that is something which India is going to use effectively against Americans as well, and make the point to them that you may be one of the largest contributors to the IMF. I know this logic is going around, your money, we use it the way we want to. That's at least how the stakeholders of the IMF were talking about. But the point is that isn't an international organization also to be held accountable? Aren't they also to ensure that the money that they're using and giving out is actually used for a good cause, or at least for the cause what it is meant to? Zaka, if you look at the note which was released by the government of India yesterday in its response to IMF, and the statement which India made at the IMF meeting yesterday was that we leave it to your morality to decide how that money should be given and whether you should give a bailout to Pakistan because they have been an official offender. I think it's this conscience awakening call which is now being taken by the government, and therefore
All
when
right,
they're going to
Pallavi,
go
I'm
back,
sorry
they
to
are going to
interrupt, but apparently there's some air activity where Akash is. He's in Rehari in Jammu. Akash, yes.
Zaka, I'm showing you the visuals, possibly some air activity. There I'm showing you the clouds there. We have this, okay, we have been asked to go inside because there are in fact some attempts, there were some attempts, in fact these attempts have been thwarted. I'm showing you the visuals of the air activities. I'm also hearing some sort of roar, possibly of the jets, but there I'm showing you the visuals of the clouds where we have that white smoke, and in fact we have been told that there is some fresh attempt possibly when CM was here, Zaka.
All right, that seems to be some activity there, some air activity. The reporters have been asked to move inside. These are the remnants of the damaged buildings in Rehari. So these are deferred pictures as well. We'll come back to you, Akash, as and when we can establish some confirmation of what kind of air activity there is. You could hear sirens in the background as well. There you can see an official asking Akash to move in. I believe the three defense chiefs have also reached South Block. There is a high-level meeting going on, and this will continue. This will continue through the day. If you're joining us at 9 o'clock this morning, these are the big headlines. It's been a hot night between India and Pakistan at the line of control at the international border. Let's bring you up to speed with what you should know in this escalating situation between India and Pakistan. Headline number one, Pakistan's Fatah missile that was aimed at Delhi has been intercepted and downed over Haryana. You can see the images there, massive remnants that have been left behind, the wreckage that's been left behind. This is a ballistic missile, 400-kilometer range, was in the direction of Delhi, but it's been intercepted over the skies of Haryana, and you can see it's fallen, the wreckage has fallen in the open fields there in Haryana. The villagers taking those pictures earlier this morning. Headline number two, it's not just in Haryana, in Srinagar, in the Lasjan area, in the outskirts of Srinagar, parts of what is believed to be a Pakistan Air Force jet, which was brought down in a dogfight. That wreckage landed up in the backyard of a residential complex. The individual whose house it was, where this wreckage was found, he is, of course, now speaking with the authorities. He has taken these pictures in what is believed to be the wreckage of a downed Pakistani fighter jet. Headline number three, India has managed to intercept Pakistani drones. These are two sets of images, CCTV images. This is the second set showing the wreckage after the interception happened. This is in the Jammu Narwal sector. The interception happening there. That's the first set of images. The interception happening in the night sky. And then the second set, which shows the destroyed Pakistani drones and the launch pad that was used by Pakistan to launch those drones. So you can see fire and smoke up in the fields in Jammu. Headline number four, a part of a drone has also been found in Amritsar. You had the ADGPI. This part is what was found in rural Amritsar. You can see the fields there, the fields being readied for the next season. You can see the part of the wreckage. That's clear that these are drones in rural Amritsar. The ADGPI also tweeted the drone that was visible in the Amritsar Cant, in the Khasa Cant in Amritsar. That too has been brought down by India's air defense system. Headline number five, a Pakistan projectile has been found in Lasjan in Srinagar. Ishan was there. This is the same area where you saw the wreckage of what is believed to be a Pakistan Air Force jet being brought down after a dogfight. What that is will be established by the authorities. Our Ishan Wani was there reporting from the backyard of that residential complex where which is the point of impact. Headline number six, a bomb-like object was found in a place called Jamla village in Pokhran in rural Rajasthan, in the deserts of Pokhran, Rajasthan. The Indian Army managed to neutralize this drone and missile attack in the sky, and what you're seeing is wreckage of that missile. Headline number seven, Pakistan targeting civilian areas. That's where our Akash Sharma was reporting from in Rehari. Multiple homes have been targeted. There's a temple called the Shambhu Temple in Jammu. That has also been targeted. Overall in Jammu, 5 people, I'm afraid, have died, both in artillery shelling as well as in Pakistani projectiles that have been hitting parts of Jammu overnight in the last 6 or 7 hours. So Jammu seems to be badly affected because of the overnight escalation of projectile, drone and missile attacks from Pakistan into India and India's response. Headline number 8, there are damaged parts of a drone that's been found in the Narsu area in Udhampur. Udhampur, of course, the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Command. We don't know what nature this drone is. You can see the army officials there taking away the remnants of this. This is from Narsu area in Udhampur. Security forces are on the spot. I can report to you there is no damage to the Udhampur air station or any part of the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Command. Headline number 9, amid the escalating attacks by Pakistan, the Indian Army has released a statement. The ADGPI has put out a statement saying that multiple armed drones were spotted flying over the Khasa cantonment in Amritsar. The hostile drones were instantly engaged and destroyed by India's air defense units. Pakistan's blatant attempt to violate the sovereignty and endanger civilians is unacceptable. And headline number 10, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has reached Rehari, which is the part where the civilian part that's been affected. 3 or 4 homes have been damaged there. There have been 5 casualties in all of Jammu. Omar Abdullah meeting with the victims, meeting with their families there, spending some time with the individuals who were affected, and of course he's now left from there. As we sort of bring you up to speed with what is happening here in the national capital, all 3 service chiefs are at the Ministry of Defence. They're in North Block right now, even as we speak. We're given to understand that further details of what the discussions are will be known as well. Remember, at 10:30, there is going to be the briefing by the Foreign Secretary. If we can have a reporter to try and get a sense of the meeting that they're having right now, and they're likely to meet with the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh as well in the next few minutes. Arunima is joining us live. Arunima, yes.
Yes, the 3 service chiefs have arrived in South Block. There is a string of briefings and meetings that is going on in South Block at the moment. The situation is now under control. The assessment part is now on. We have seen ADGPI put out details of the munition that has been used in Amritsar, drones which were carrying the munition as their payloads, the way they were taken down, and the details, the markings on the payload, all of that have been put out in the public domain. Assessment of the situation all the way from Udhampur to Jammu and also in Jaisalmer, that's on. There's a high likelihood that Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh could also meet the 3 service chiefs shortly. By afternoon, after the press conference by the Foreign Secretary has ended, there's also a possibility of the Prime Minister being briefed by the National Security Advisor and the Raksha Mantri as well. One thing that one must highlight is that the deliberate misinformation that is going on from Pakistani social media handles, most of them have been blocked by India, but international media is picking up some of those and India is countering them. One of which said that, an Indian Air Force jet has been down. Then another misinformation was that the S-400 missile system has been damaged. All of these being denied officially by Government of India.
No, Arunima, I was just coming to that the PIB needs to fact check things a little faster and perhaps in a little more active manner. They have been doing a fantastic job. But Pakistan's disinformation campaign continues. They are trying to claim that some brigade headquarters has been destroyed and that some bases, they have even named the airfields have been destroyed, etc. They've also said that some storage of missile-based storage system has also been destroyed, along with downing of jets. And like you said, some of our air defense systems being destroyed. All of these are not factual. They are all false. But there is a tendency that वो कहते हैं ना, अरुणिमा, if I can say that, कि जब तक सच खड़ा